Do you ever wonder why you're paying so much for streaming services every month? It's a question that's becoming increasingly relevant as the costs of our favorite platforms, Disney+, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and others, continue to climb. Remember when late last year, the price of the annual Disney+ plan shot up to a whopping $140? Not to be left out, Netflix decided to join in and hike their prices too, even introducing ads in their most affordable tier. And let's not forget about Amazon Prime, which now costs an additional $3. TV, which was once a reasonable $66.99, jumped to $99 a month. It's an undeniable fact that we are living in a golden age of television. There are so many great shows and movies to watch, and they're all spread across these different services. As consumers, we want to watch them all. But man, does it hurt to fork up so much money every month to do it? So, how did we end up in this position? It's a tangled web of strategies and market dynamics, with every streaming service trying to get a bigger piece of the pie. For most of their history, these streaming giants made money in one way, through subscribers. If they wanted to make more money, they either had to add subscribers or raise prices. This was always their strategy, but now we're seeing a shift. The growth of these platforms is slowing down, and they're getting nervous. In a bid to expand their customer base, they're resorting to tactics like password sharing restrictions and tiered services with ads. It's a tricky balancing act, trying to keep their content attractive while not pricing it out of reach for their audience. This makes us question, how did we end up in this position, and is there a way for consumers to do better? To understand the rising costs, let's delve into the strategy of the biggest player in the game, Netflix. For most of its history, Netflix had a simple revenue model: its subscribers. The more subscribers they had, or the higher the prices they charged, the more revenue they raked in. This was a calculated risk, a gamble that the company could attract subscribers and hike its prices quicker than its debt clock was ticking. And speaking of debt, Netflix had accrued quite a sum, almost $15 billion by 2020. You might wonder, why would a streaming service take on such a massive debt? The answer lies in their content strategy. Netflix wanted to build an entire platform's worth of content, a library that they owned and controlled, rather than relying on shows and movies they didn't own, like The Office or Friends. This strategy worked wonders. Netflix saw very steady growth, year after year, even as its prices went up. Their best year yet was 2020, the year of the pandemic. It seemed like Netflix had the magic formula. But then, things started to change. In 2021, they noticed a slowdown in their growth. By 2022, they didn't just slow down, they actually lost subscribers. This was a first for Netflix, and it set off alarm bells. They had to find a way to reignite their growth. Now there's only so much growth you can achieve by adding new subscribers. There's a ceiling to that. Netflix realized they had reached that ceiling, but they also realized they had more potential customers than it appeared. This is where the phenomenon of password sharing comes into the picture. But Netflix's story doesn't end there. They found an interesting way to grow. You may not know this, but password sharing played a significant role in Netflix's strategy. In the early days, Netflix wasn't too concerned about password sharing. Why, you ask? Well, it was a clever way to expose more potential viewers to their service. Think of it as a free sample at a bakery. You try the delicious croissant, fall in love with it, and next time you're more than willing to pay for it. That was Netflix's plan. They believed that once people got a taste of their content, they wouldn't mind paying for it. But, like everything in life, things started to change. As Netflix's growth began to slow down, they realized they were facing a new challenge. They had a large pool of viewers who were enjoying the service, but not all of them were paying customers. Some of them were, let's call them, freeloaders. They were enjoying the Netflix buffet without paying the bill. The numbers started to tell a story that Netflix couldn't ignore. Picture this. They were sitting atop a goldmine of potential paying customers, but the gold was just out of reach. So Netflix pivoted. They decided it was time to convert these password sharers, these freeloaders, into paying customers. The result? A temporary surge in subscribers. It was like a breath of fresh air into Netflix's growth chart. It was a strategy that not only worked, but worked well enough to catch the attention of other streaming services. Seeing Netflix's success, they started to ask themselves, why not us? Why not convert our own freeloaders into paying customers? And just like that, Netflix's approach to password sharing from indifference to strategic conversion became a trend. It was a strategy that not only helped Netflix, but also the entire streaming industry to tap into a new source of revenue and growth. This strategy was so successful that other streaming services began to follow suit. While Netflix was navigating its growth, Hulu was carving out a different path. In the world of streaming services, Hulu took a detour from the path most traveled. While most platforms aimed to create an ad-free experience, Hulu dared to embrace a two-tier service model. It offered its audience a choice, an ad-supported service and an ad-free service. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, don't we all loathe those pesky ads that interrupt our favorite shows? But here's the twist. Hulu's ad-supported option turned out to be the most lucrative part of their business. Yes, you heard that right. The ad-supported tier wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. So much so that it led Hulu to do something quite unheard of in the streaming world. They lowered the price of this tier from $7.99 to $5.99. Now, this begs the question, why did Hulu's ad-supported tier work so well? The answer lies in the timeless formula of the entertainment industry. Advertisements. Think about it. The cable business, the forefather of streaming, thrived on this model. You didn't pay for the shows, you paid for the privilege of watching them without interruptions. Hulu, in a way, brought back this model, but with a twist. It gave you a choice: to pay more for an ad-free experience or save some money and sit through a few commercials. This choice resonated with a large number of viewers. In fact, it became a win-win situation. Viewers had the option to save money, and Hulu earned revenue from both subscriptions and advertisers. So, what does this mean for the future of streaming services? Could ads be the secret sauce to a successful video business? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, Hulu's different path has certainly stirred the pot and offered a new perspective on how streaming platforms can stay profitable. So it appears that advertising might be the key to a successful video business. Now that we've explored the strategies of major streaming services, it's time to summarize what we've learned. We began by discussing the rising costs of streaming services, a reality that many of us have encountered in our inboxes. From Disney Plus to Netflix and Amazon Prime, prices are constantly climbing, and it's not uncommon for us to question how we ended up here, paying so much for our monthly subscriptions. Our exploration then led us to Netflix, the biggest and oldest streamer around. We uncovered their strategy of attracting subscribers and raising prices to fuel their growth, a plan that has worked for them for a long time. However, we also learned about the challenges they faced, such as the slowdown in growth and the debt they've accumulated in their pursuit of creating an entire platform's worth of content. We then delved into Netflix's approach to password sharing, a phenomenon they initially welcomed as it exposed their service to more people. But as they hit a growth ceiling, they began to see the potential of converting these share users into paying subscribers, a move that led to a temporary surge in their subscriber count. Finally, we turned our attention to Hulu, a company that has taken a slightly different path. Hulu's ad-supported model has proven to be highly successful, so much so that they lowered the price for this tier of their service. It's a clear reminder of the enduring power of advertising revenue in the video business. As we conclude, it's clear that the landscape of streaming services is complex and ever-evolving. Each service has its own strategy, whether it's Netflix's approach to growth and password sharing or Hulu's ad-supported model. As consumers, it's essential to understand these strategies and make informed decisions about our streaming subscriptions. After all, we all want to enjoy our favorite shows without breaking the bank.